Hello, friends, countrymen, Vikings, dwarfs, men of the Empire. We're about to watch the second series in Group A of the Polish Championship. We have Wilamos going up against Gumba87. Wilamos is here in the blue and yellow, I guess, and he's playing the dwarfs against the Empire of Gumba. I'm not familiar with Gumba. As I said earlier, I'm not familiar with most of these Polish players, but I do know Wilamos is actually competed in quite a few of my cups, and Sacred Band is a pretty, long-standing clan that is still rather active, I would say. So what is Wilamos bringing? Is 3 miners with blasting charges. Actually, 4 of them. One of them is actually deployed in the back. I wonder why. Probably to help protect that back line. Now, behind that, we have some spread out dwarf warriors, 4 in total. Some thunders deployed to be able to shoot through the gaps here. Some cannons, which are already starting to fire right as the battle starts. We have a gyrocopter with a brimstone gun here and another one here. Now, these have received anti-large bonuses, so I do like that. It's just good to have some, fast response mobile units here. And it's actually one thing that makes Dwarf play a bit more interesting, I think. We also have some Iron Drakes. Very interesting. These guys, if they get to, if they as much as look at something, it dies. At least if they're able to line up their shots, which sometimes they have a bit of trouble with. They decrease leadership as well of things they shoot. So these are the regular Iron Drakes, not the Troll Hammer torpedoes, but trust me, they deal a lot of damage too. In the back here we have Dragonback Slayers protecting that back line. Now it is a pretty big army, so it just has a very cheap Lord, the Rune Lord, with just a Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is going to decrease charge speed and regular speed. Now for the Empire, we have some Outriders deployed up front. We have the Hammer of the Witches, which deals magic damage, which is actually going to reduce its damage against dwarves, but I guess it often gets big just because of opponent's accuracy and also leadership, which allows it to stick around in an artillery duel a little longer. But in that case, I always wonder, why not take an upgraded cannon instead? Maybe someone will explain that. Over here we have a Bright Wizard Fireball to snipe the enemy artillery, Cascading Fire Cloak going to buff his units, and Burning Head, which we saw Mikkel trying to use in the first series. Not that effective against armor actually, and the dwarves are not really lined up for it, but who knows, maybe there will be a good opportunity for a cast. The Greatswords are here, 2 units of them, with 2 ranks on each of them. Front line of swordsmen, great for catching mining charges with their faces, and thunder volleys with their shields. They've all been given, well, except for this one, that guy got kind of ignored. He's not the popular kid. They got given 1 unit or 1 rank of veterancy. Behind that, we have the silver bullets once again with magic damage. I guess the stock is useful, but I'm not sure about the magic damage, guys. I mean, the magic damage actually makes them do reduced damage to dwarfs by 25%. You see the magic damage resistance right here, 25. They all have that. So yeah, I'm going to have to get a lot of use out of that stock to be worth it, if you ask me. Now over here we have Sigmar Sons, Unbreakable Swordsman, very useful. And a unit of Spearmen with shields, which may have been picked because I'm actually not sure. Probably because he was at his maximum amount of swordsmen that he was allowed to take or something. We also have a unit of spearmen with shields in the back here. The anti-large, of course, not going to do anything to the dwarves unless gyrocopters come into melee with the spearmen. So let's see how this goes. Outriders, we'll have to be very careful here. But I do like their positioning. They're in the forest. They're not... well, they are revealed, but they're not in range. They have to be careful. They have to be very careful. So, one thing I forgot to mention is he actually has a Hellblaster volley gun. If this thing can start firing, it's going to be devastating. but I suspect the cannons will make this unit a priority. So the Outriders are getting a couple shots into the miners with blasting charges, but they're now exposing their flank to the Thunders. We're about to see a big volley here, I think. Yeah, because they're now standing with their backs to them, and that's an opportunity Wilamos is going to really pounce on. The Outriders got some volleys here on the Grimstone gyrocopters, but if you're firing at max range, they're actually not that accurate. Now on this side, the silver bullets are trying to be sneaky and wait for the gyrocopters to come close so they can shoot them. So far, Empire is staying in defense, trying to bring their Hellblaster volley gun closer. The unit of miners is moving out, not really taking fire just yet, although, you know, the handgunners could have been firing by now. We also have a Huntsman General here. Now the Huntsman General, once again, it's anti-large, but I guess he has his reasons for picking him. The Arrow of Akshi may do something to the dwarves. The Hail of Fire, yeah, that's probably the reason he picked it, to get reload skill on all of his ranged units. Now, over here, the blasting charges are going on to the swordsman. It could have been avoided, I suppose, if they had been fired at as they were moving up, but that didn't happen. So, how's the artillery duel looking? Hellblaster volley gun has already lost the model. That's really painful. The dwarves are going to keep shooting at it, of course. The Thunders here, you see the damage even 2 Hellblaster volley guns can do. But yeah, it's not going to stick around for very long, not with 2 dwarf cannons shooting at it. So the Hammer of the Witches, where is it firing? May be able to take out their artillery if it gets ignored long enough, but it doesn't look like it's gotten any damage here yet. It's probably been firing at other things. Now the dwarves, despite having artillery advantage, feel either required to go forward or just confident enough to go forward. This Bright Wizard is kind of chilling here. We haven't seen any fireballs onto the cannons to destroy models. Right here, a Greatsword is able to get into combat without taking damage yet. And I like the positioning of this Witch Hunter. He probably wants to move a little bit more to the side here, because he is taking fire from the Thunders, but getting flanking shots into those dwarves is really nice. You see he's already up to 18 kills. And the gyrocopters are sort of staying on the edges, provoking some defensive measures from the Empire, which is also decent. Oh, but on this side, oh, look at the positioning. Did I promise too much? These Iron Drakes, they're obstructed now, but you see how much just a couple of shots into these Greatswords. They've taken a lot of damage, and they're nearly broken. And because of the positioning, he's able to get flanking shots on the other Greatsword as well with his Thunders, and potentially these Iron Drakes if he brings them closer. That's absolutely brutal. Now on this side, the handgunners are trading shots with the Thunders. We know how that's going to end up. Because Thunders, guys, they have this magical ability that allows them to wield a shield on their back. And by wielding a shield on their back, they're actually able to withstand things hitting them from the front. Don't ask me how that works. It's dwarf logic. Are we going to see a burning head here? Yeah, this is the second time we see a battle where burning head is used in a rather strange manner and do not much effect. But whatever. Is he putting down another one already? What is this? He can't be putting down another burning head already. No, I think that was just the after effect. Now the Empire is attacking all across the lines. And Wilamos sees, okay, there's nothing threatening my backline. I'm just going to send in my Dragonback Slayers to wreak some havoc. The Bright Wizard is hiding in the forest here and just shot a fireball into the trees. Which reminds me of a feature I really miss from Attila, which is setting foliage and mostly trees on fire. You can't do that anymore. The Hammer of the Witches, what exactly is it shooting at? It's trying to hit the gyrocopters, but not being very effective at that. Oh, the silver bullets, they do like this, being able to get some shots into the Dragonback Slayers who are just standing there. But yeah, of course that wasn't going to last, and now they are being charged by these guys. Fireball, it's going to skim the Lord a little bit, but yeah, the Slayers, they are going to make short work of the Silver Bullets. In melee there. They're not large, but they're definitely weak enough. Last of Sigmar's Sons are getting fried. Sigmar's Sons flambe, anyone? Now, one of the gyrocopters has managed to get close enough to the Hammer of the Witches to start shooting at it. And as you can see, it's taking fire from both sides, so it's going to be forced to retreat. The Witch Hunter is in combat. He's probably up to... No, he's actually only up to 25 kills, so I don't think he's been able to spend that much of his ammo. And yeah, the Dwarves just seem to be winning every engagement right now. They've completely gobbled up the Silver Bullets here, which were practically undefended. The Thunderers on the right flank have managed to push through and are now shooting into the flank of these handgunners. And the Huntsman General is also in combat. Now it seems the Bright Wizard is getting caught. He is getting caught, and if that Bright Wizard takes a bit too much damage, it's going to affect the balance of power very heavily. I don't really know what the Empire is going for it right now. The Outriders even are getting killed now. They only managed to get 5 kills. And yeah, the Hammer of the Witches, it's turned its fire onto these Thunders. Should be able to get something done. Yep, some decent shots there. Of course, if they're in a thin formation like this, and your artillery shots just go through the center, it's not going to be that effective. That's why in historical battles they usually, well, they didn't always do this, but the smart commanders, they actually had their artillery on the sides usually, so they could fire down the line and hit more people. Yeah, humans do get creative when it comes to murdering each other, but in this case, it's mostly the dwarves getting creative about murdering the Empire, which I think had some decent ideas with its build. The great swords did manage to get some kills, but mostly on miners and all across the map, and the positioning was just off. They were taking flanking shots, they were getting their silver bullets caught. Wilamos, or Croxigor Dundee as he's called on Steam there, definitely seemed like the more experienced player here. And yeah, the Empire with a couple of somewhat questionable choices, I would say. It's not a completely terrible army, not at all actually, but let's say you have 2 regular cannons and you have 3 company militia and some regular handgunners. You're already saving a lot of money, and these units kind of that I mentioned kind of do the same thing as the ones you have, and that might give you some more tools to, I don't know, have some mobility to try and mess with the dwarves a little bit or something. But as it was, he needed to play it pretty much perfectly and grab every opportunity to do damage. Like when the miners were coming in there, they should have been shot at by the handgunners. Didn't happen. And in a battle where you're already at a sort of army disadvantage, of course, it's going to go south really, really quickly if you don't take all those little advantages that you should be taking. And then, of course, if a Hellblaster volley gun gets shot to pieces by cannons, and if the silver bullets get gobbled up by Dragonback Slayers, then it's a complete disaster. So, well played to Wilamos. Nice try by Gumba. Hopefully he will tweak his army a little bit, so next time he faces the dwarves, they'll have something to write in their famous Book of Grudges. Next battle, guys, will be the second encounter between Wilamos and Gumba. Tune in for that on the next video. See ya.